Hey guys, this is Crap Hunter for the GDTV podcast. We return on a very special day, but first of all, let's introduce our co-host slash people here. First of all, we got Rexasaur.
Hey guys.
We got Decider.
Hello.
The Tactical Penguin.
Hello.
And Ultra.
Hello.
So today is a fantastic day in the eyes of gamers because the new Xbox has been unveiled. The Xbox One. Not to be confused with the first one. Yeah, makes total sense. Anyway, as Rexasaur is an expert, and when I say expert, I mean he watched the production, he'll just give you the features and contents for all of the stuff that is now going to be on this new Xbox One. So, Rex, what can you tell us about this new console?
Well, from what I saw of the unveiling production, apparently, because it's some kind of theatre production, the Xbox One is not just going to be a console, it's going to be everything that the family needs when watching TV or just lounging around like Americans do in their couches. So you'll be able to watch TV, change your channels, skim through like the internet, have a Skype call on your TV, that kind of dandy awesome stuff, as well as play games. And you'll be able to do this with a new and improved Kinect device, which has apparently got rocket technology in it, which measures photons passing through things. I don't know, they used fancy words, and so now it's ultra precision, so you'll be able to talk to your Xbox, they'll be able to recognise your voice, recognise who your friends are apparently also, which I thought was a bit weird. But yeah, you'll be able to do all this fancy pants stuff, which sounds pretty awesome.
What they are focusing on is Xbox One, the one being the one device of your entertainment array of devices. Well,
Sounds a bit
it won't be an array of devices anymore. It will just be your Xbox and your connecting controller. So the idea is that you enter your living room, you just say Xbox on. I think it was Xbox on.
Yeah,
that's what he said. It just turns on relatively instantly, and you get the Metro kind of UI of Windows on the Xbox One. And Xbox One is an operating system using the Windows kernel and the Xbox Live operating system in one. So they're trying to promote multitasking, so you could be watching a film and then you say gaming and it switches to gaming instantly, and that's where they're trying to bridge the divide between different multimedia.
Okay, here's a question for you guys. Now, lots of people are with consoles nowadays. They all kind of feel like they're trying to make the television almost meld into the console to make this massive entertainment system from this one bit. But do you think that all of these features, however impressive they are and however handy they may be to average Joe Blog, do you feel that they're all really necessary, or do you feel that there are other perfectly useful systems around that could do the job that the Xbox One is going to be trying to do, and perhaps even better?
Well, what they're trying to do is simplify the whole experience. So as you mentioned, other devices, you might have 4 devices, now you're just going to have one. And that's something that I think is going to make Xbox One really special.
Although, as a counter to that, I think for some people that might turn people off, at least for me, because I'm not a big TV watcher. I think I might be paying an awful lot of money, and when I won't be using many of the features aside from perhaps gaming. And whilst it certainly looks interesting and useful, I think it might alienate some of the crowd who want it for just games. And ultimately, that is where the Xbox started.
I don't think that they're detracting away from the gaming experience. I think this is added on beneficial content to make the console more preferable over other gaming consoles.
Yeah, I will put my own opinion on this one before I ask. Before anyone else says, I would just like to say that I agree with Ultra, because I mean, okay, call me old-fashioned, but when I was younger, a video games console was just that. You wanted to play a game, so you turned off the TV channel, you flipped over to AV1, you clicked on your control, grabbed your controller, put your disc in, because one of those, imagine those days, discs, and you played the game. I find it's becoming increasingly more ridiculous the fact that a console now has to not only play video games, it also now has to be your DVD, your radio, your satellite television. I just think playing video games and DVDs is what a console really should only have to worry about, and then just use other things for DVDs. I just think it's a bit over the top, in my opinion. I mean, what do you think about this, Tactical Penguin?
Well, I agree with Ultra as well. I mean, I'm not a big TV watcher myself, but this is what I just go on my PC for. Go on the internet, iPlayer, and watch shows to catch up on. I just don't find that the TV stuff in a console is really necessary, because I'm not going to use it. I just want it to play games. Mostly the exclusives. Mostly just to have a chat with some friends who haven't got a powerful gaming PC, but have got an Xbox, for example. I'll just play with them.
I think this sort of technology would have been very useful a while back, because there were times in my life where it would be cool, perhaps if someone else wanted to watch the television at the same time as I wanted to play a game, then it wouldn't. We could both do the same experience, have the same thing, or perhaps I wanted to watch a film and do some gaming at the same time. But now I don't have any use for that, because if I've got a computer which allows me to do multitasking on it as well. If I wanted to watch TV whilst playing a game, I'd load a game up on my computer whilst watching TV.
What we do need to remember is that this is new technology. This wasn't possible a few years ago in the living room.
Oh no, true. But true.
Well, these are the guys that developed the first Xbox, and they developed it for a reason. Now they're developing more technology, so other things can become reality. And before the Xbox, the first Xbox, gamers then probably said, "Oh, we don't need a gaming console because I can do X, Y, and Z." But now they, as technology's moved on and they've got used to change, they don't maybe want to see the possibilities of what it can do. Maybe it's time that we all just.
I think the main reason why a lot of people, why three of us here are very negative towards that ability of the console becoming something more than a console, is because in our generation, the console was just a console. And I think the main reason for change, and change is always difficult for a lot of people, so when if I take an example of games, when Age of Empires 2 stopped being produced and became Age of Empires 3, and Age of Empires 3 was rubbish in my opinion, because I enjoyed Age of Empires 2 more. It's the same kind of thing with consoles. Personally though, I think this change in a new direction is such a good business step, as well as being such a good social step in technology and innovation. I think if instead of a family having to spend maybe, I don't know, £500 to £600 on not only their TV but like the DVD player, a Freeview recorder, whatever, maybe, I don't know, sound system, actually I'll still have to buy that, but instead they can buy all that in one, which will also be a game console, which will be the Xbox One. And plus,
for
the same price that you'd have to pay for all those other objects.
You also get a 1080p webcam, voice communication.
Exactly. You get so much. You get the ability to Skype from your living room with the best webcam for TVs that money can buy at this point.
I mean, I wouldn't mind so much if a console could do this, and I'm not saying that it's a bad idea. I mean, I like the concept of what it's doing. Don't get me wrong. The bit that I find myself getting frustrated over, and this thing which is really annoying me about technology, is the fact that the designers and the people who do this kind of stuff try and make it as simple and as stupidly easy as possible. And the way that it's going around, it just makes me feel like, to be intelligent in this kind of society with all the kind of advanced things we can do on computers, like defragging, or accessing individual files, all that feels like it's being pushed out the window in favor of a more child-friendly system, which then basically makes it feel like in the future we're not really going to have much of an intelligence because everything will be so simple thanks to the technology. I mean, this might just sound like an old grouchy man's view upon the world, but I just find that the more simple some stuff looks, I get a bit worried that future generations may not think about finding out as much of stuff as
well, remember that they're just pioneering design simplicity. They're not simplifying the architecture behind the whole console. It's still just as complex or even more complex than the Xbox 360. So it's just more of usability and flexibility in terms of design. And
the user interface has been made more simple, but the way they got to it is still more complex. You can't say that because something looks simple, then it must be that way.
And I agree that making things simple can be bad in a way that removes power from the user. I think a lot of these...
Yeah.
Oh, Max, we've lost you.
Whoops, sorry. I think whilst I agree that the making things more simple can be bad, I think a lot of these changes are going to be good because things like not having to worry about lots of different inputs into your television, I think that's removing that step isn't going to remove much from the user. I think it's only going to improve usability.
I think multitasking for a console is going to be rather important. Being able to play a game and then switch to a web browser if you want, or watch a film, and then slide two screens onto one, so you could be watching a TV show and then having live statistics about the things people are talking about. So you could be having a political debate and then fact-checking fact-checking whilst they're saying things, and I think that's quite interesting. You could do that on the PC, but now you can do it sat on the sofa in your living room.
Maybe because you can watch TV and also maybe like have a Skype chat with someone, and you could watch the same show with them and then react with them. I mean, I wouldn't do that personally because that's not the kind of thing I like to do. But that's
Good
the kind
God,
of
imagine
thing that can
EastEnders. But no, I mean, I get what you mean. It sounds like quite an impressive thing to sort of have the ability to multitask and do all these, very impressive things. And I won't deny that it probably takes a very complicated and technical aspect to it, which I probably will never be able to do in my lifetime to save my life. But I mean, I miss the days where things were a little bit simpler. And this is probably me moaning a bit, but I just think, the abilities for everyone to. Okay, I'll give you a good example. One of my favorite things to do when I was younger was whenever a mate of mine came around the house, we both picked up a console controller and we both played through a game. Now, this still does happen. I'm not saying it no longer exists, but the likelihood of you being able to get a mate round your house and either play a video game and solidly grind through, I don't know, Gears of War or old very first PlayStation games. I feel that the LAN party aspect of things kind of is now slowly dying because of the easiness of grabbing onto the internet. So I think that would I think it's somewhat killing.
To be fair to Microsoft, in the actual live event, I don't know what his title was, but he did specifically refer to being able to play with your friends in terms of taking your Xbox to LAN parties. That is what made Xbox what it was, and I think that's something that they're going to be looking into.
I think you can't.
That'll be good.
With your point about it, going through the internet being completely I disagree with that completely, because back when at my friend's house, funny enough, I have two friends which each have one has a PS3 and the one has an Xbox 360. And both of these people, I would go over their house, they'd have a spare controller, they'd have Call of Duty, and we'd do co-op multiplayer at both of them, and it didn't have that much difficult. And even, I really don't think that this aspect of gaming I mean, it's not grinding because it's multiplayer like that, but I'm pretty sure it's not that difficult. We also used to play on the PS3 the Portal 2, we co-op for that, and you can do that either with your friend or through the internet, and I don't have a PS3 or an Xbox 360, so I like going over there to do that. So I don't think that aspect of gaming with your friends has gone. It's just made slightly easier with the internet, but it's, you can still go over your friend. It's sort of more of a personal choice to play over the internet than to go over theirs.
They also said that they're at E3 they're going to be releasing information about how they're pioneering co-op. I did remember hearing that.
Yeah,
Are they talking about split screen or online co-op?
Both.
I think there is a decreasing number of games that don't allow split screen. This is why you get. This is why when you mention going over to your mate's house to go and play, it's with the advent of the internet, two-player split screen's a bit.
But that could just be because of technological.
Issues,
yeah.
Technology. Yeah, we could do it 10 years ago.
Yeah, but remember, graphics have increased, and if you have two experiences going on at the same time, so
just render
now
down
that
the graphics.
well, now that they've got
Then you have
the
no good
technology, now they've got the resources.
I like to move on to a different subject. I like how when Sony announced the PS4, they did mention all about how you couldn't go backwards in games. But when Xbox did, they didn't actually mention at all that. So
far,
Yeah.
exactly. Do it. But
I reckon what will happen is that there'll be some kind of either they will go like the way of the PlayStation 4 and say, oh, we're not going to go backwards with gaming, we're not going to allow you to play all the games. Or what they will do is they'll incorporate probably a money-making business scheme, get you to pay to like the old 360 did. Where you would pay either Microsoft credits, or if you had the game, you could just plug it in. But generally, if you pay for some kind of fancy DLC or something, I'm not saying they'll do that. It'd be kind of nice if they said, if you have any old 360 games, this console will do it. But I'm not really sure if the new generation will be as accepting of the old generation.
I reckon the first release of the Xbox One will be like the first PS3, where it did have the backwards compatibility ability. And then they'll release a next version. Let's probably call it the Slim, which is probably most likely what it would be. And then they'll remove that compatibility to play older games.
Yeah,
I never understood why they did that.
It's the whole moving forward the generation thing.
Oh,
They're
yeah,
slowly taking them off the shelves because they don't want to. They're eventually going to stop selling Xbox 360s.
I think what the whole
like
trend in the industry is that they remove backwards compatibility for discs, but allow you to play old games digitally.
Yes,
because
but
they're trying to remove physical distribution and go ultimately to digital distribution.
I think with the whole Xbox One thing, it seems slightly counterintuitive to have it so whilst you can use it as a games console, you'll still need to keep your old Xbox with you to be able to play any other Xbox games.
Well, yeah,
but
exactly.
that being said, I think it is quite difficult to have just backwards compatibility right out of the box. I mean, a lot of consoles that are backwards compatible they have to use the same hardware as the previous generation to be able to do it. I mean, the Xbox 360 actually has an emulator in, which means the backwards compatibility isn't actually that great. If you've tried to do a backwards compatible game, a lot of them don't actually work very well because it's emulating it. And I think we'd probably have a similar situation if we try to do the same here. What's probably a better scheme is to have the digital downloads, and if there is some way to do it, some sort of scheme where you could get the digital versions of the games you already have.
Yes, I was just about to say that. Yeah, that would be the best thing to do, because I think if Xbox managed to find a way to do that, then that already have one step above the Sony PlayStation straight away, and it's something that should be considered. It probably has been considered, but something that us gamers would probably like better. If it was backwards compatible, then we would go, oh yeah, sure, I'd buy that over the PS4 just for that.
Yeah, because I think backwards compatibility, yeah, I agree, because that would be quite fun just to play. I mean, something simple as playing, when I played through the old Halo on my Xbox 360, because I hadn't touched it in a while, and this was like maybe a few days before the anniversary edition came out, and I happily went through that, and there was no problem. So I think it's quite nice that if the 360, the new one, I'll just call it number one, would do that. It'd be quite interesting. Okay, on to okay, before we go on to the other subject, I am going to ask you these, a couple of questions for each person. First of all, what is your overall opinion of the new Xbox, and how popular will you think it will be in comparison to the PlayStation 4? We're going to go through my Skype order. So, Rex, you're first.
Yes. Well, to put this into perspective, apart from the PS1 and PS2, I've never had any other console, and I have seen the release of both the PS3 and the Xbox 360, and now the PS4 and the Xbox One. And the Xbox One release is the one that has made me want to buy it more than any other console that I've seen for the last 2 generations. So I think it's definitely got that potential that PS4 I didn't see having. So I'm going to say it's going to be pretty good, in my opinion.
Okay. Okay, fair enough. So Ultra, what about you?
I think I love the concept. I think it's a great idea, but I think it might not end up being popular as such for the features they're trying to add. I think it will probably still be popular as a console because of the exclusives, and people who've probably already got an Xbox 360 are probably going to buy it so they can get the new games. But I think a lot of the features they're trying to push for might not be as accepted as they're hoping.
Okay, fair enough. Decider, what about you?
Well, from what I saw, and from my own opinions of Xbox, PlayStation, PC, I will probably be investing in one at some point, depending on the price and the number of games that are out. But I think the features that they're implementing are future thinking. They're not something that everyone at the moment can say they've tried or that they would have thought that they needed. But overall, I think the voice controlling using Kinect seems interesting. I think that the games that they're bringing, the technology, the new graphics is interesting for console gaming, whereas PC gaming have already got all that technology, but being able to channel that into a console experience is important. I think the multimedia aspect of Xbox One will bring in more people, not just gamers, to buy the product. It will bring in families can actually use the Xbox now, whereas just previously it was mostly just the children or adults who played the games. They're bringing a lot more exclusives, which is interesting because they didn't have many exclusives for Xbox 360, but they said that they're bringing 15 exclusives with 8 new franchises. 8 new franchises. Sorry, I thought it was 7. And I like the new controller, so yes.
It's all for the controller. And Tactical Penguin, what were your opinion on this? What was your answer to my question?
It's a very interesting concept from a business perspective. I'd expect it to do well when it comes out. From the sort of side of all the TV and all that stuff, doesn't interest me because I'm not that type of person. That's what I have a TV for. But other than that, I think it'll do great, and I like the exclusives that are coming out. And yeah, the controller looks like a nice improvement over the normal 360 one, and I hope that it does have backwards compatibility when it comes out, because I do like playing some of the older 360 games that I have.
That sounds cool. All right then. Well, that was the Xbox One. Now, quickly on to another subject, of which, in my own personal opinion, I'm looking a bit more forward to. Many people have been noticing that the Rome franchise has kind of, the press and the hype about it somewhat died down as of late. However, recently there has been an announcement. Well, I say announcement. There's been the Steam service is now starting to advertise Rome 2, and in so doing reveals a secret faction. I don't know whether this is like for a special edition or whether it's a pre-purchase order where you finally get the Greek city-states. Here's a question for you guys, if you are into the Total War series. First of all, do you think that having the Greek city-states as a purchasable faction a bit like how Shogun was, is a good idea for the Total War series so far? And do you think that because of this kind of thing, the Rome may start fading into the same light as, say, Shogun did? Once again, what were you saying, sorry?
Just basically day one DLC.
Yeah, I think if you pre-purchase the game, which is kind of expensive at 44 quid, but
It's only 44 on Steam.
Yeah,
You can get it
44
for
on Steam.
29 on Amazon.
Now, don't tell them where. Just say you can get it for cheaper elsewhere.
Yeah, well, anyhow, this time we're going to go back up the order. So in this case, Tactical Penguin, you're the first.
Oh, I mean, I'm last.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to be a balanced and
Trying to be
democratic person. Shut up, Rex. I am the leader here. Anyway, so Tactical, what do you? As I was just saying, my question. What would you think on that?
Well, I'm not a big Total War fan. I mean, I've hardly had experience with any like Total War games. I've played them, but I haven't played them long. But is it basically they're advertising day one DLC effectively?
Yeah, basically.
What it is if you pre-purchase
I'll
it,
explain.
get
I'll
lost.
explain.
You
No,
get
I'm
the
the host.
Greek
I'm the
cities
host.
for free.
Oh, yeah.
So
Well, you get the Greek cities for free, but I
So
think
what happens
it's
if you don't
priced.
pre-purchase it?
then you have to
You
buy
prob-
them.
Yeah. Can I?
I
just
don't think that's a
finish?
good idea. I think it's stupid. Why
Right.
can't you just have it in the game already?
Because it wasn't already developed for
Yeah,
the
it
game. It's extra content. They were meant to release it after the game, but they've managed to get it developed before. So it's only fair that they develop it as what they were going to do, because it is an expansion pack.
It's also
Already planned.
it's also
Just make it
an
into the game
incentive
and then
to
develop
pre-purchase
another.
it.
Surely there's more expansion packs coming
Well,
up.
The game, I think, just from a design point of view, it's easy for them to release it as DLC.
Okay.
Turning into gate. They're turning.
Okay. So you disagree, Tactical Penguin. You think it's a bit of a stupid idea. Decider, you giving impressions that you were okay with this? Do you?
Well, they've been doing it since Rome, basically, and I have no objection with DLC, especially as it's free. And I hope they bring out more DLC. I don't think there was enough DLC. Well, there was quite a lot of DLC with Empire, and like with Rome, we had Barbarian Invasion, Alexander. So they've been doing it since they made
We're
Rome.
doing it since Shogun.
Oh
the
yes,
original.
actually,
Mobile Invasion.
all those expansions for Medieval 1. So
Okay, Ultra, what do you think of this, or are you not much of a Total War player?
I'm not a big Total War guy, but going. Just in terms of day one DLC, I'm never a big fan, just because I think it seems sort of pointless to have something in the game that could have that extra that could have been in there in the first place. But that being said, I don't know how much of a role this is going to be. I don't know whether this is going to be a big game changing thing. That means you have to have
yeah,
it.
in the
I have
original
opinions.
Rome. In the original Rome, they did. It was quite a big faction to play. You either had Rome, Carthage, Egypt, or the Greeks. It was that they were the civilized state, and everyone around them was just barbarians, or the Seleucids, or whatever. I think they were the kind of the main kind of nations that were the marketing for it. So finally, Rexasaur.
Yes, opinions. Right. I want to put in so many opinions in this.
Right, okay.
Firstly,
Let's
it's
just
not
keep
the
it
Greek
there.
city-states. It's 3 different Greek states.
Well, yeah.
Also, it is a very big game changer because they've added Sparta as one of those. So a
Woo!
bugload of people are just going to pre-purchase it just to get Sparta in it. Because it's one of those factions that everyone's like, yes, Sparta! So I'd expect also on YouTube, you will see Roman Sparta straight away. As
This is Sparta
What the-
remixes.
yeah,
Or
just
the,
a lot of that. So I think also, like Decider said, they weren't expecting to finish it on time, but they are now. I think it is easier to add it as DLC, and I think that instead of it, I know it's free DLC if you pre-purchase it, which is a good add-on to it. But I think after the release, they should maybe have it as the cheapest DLC they've got. Right, rather than having it full price like the rest, which is going to be. And you can, and I think you will expect to have more DLC factions coming along, such as the Seleucids, which I'm quite, not shocked, but surprised they haven't been seen or weren't in the original
They
game.
probably will be an
But,
expansion.
Yeah, but I mean, because it was the same for Shogun. Shogun 2 had DLC factions, and to be fair, no one really thought much about it. They were just, a new faction I can play with different kind of stats. That's pretty cool. So I would expect they still do that. And to be honest, I I don't see that as a problem. I just think that for the original DLC, the three Greek states, that they should have it at a lower price than the DLC they will release later on.
Okay, fair enough. Also, just a little question from my perspective. This is meant more for the Total War players out there than is, so it's understandable if Tactical Penguin or Ultra don't really get too much of it. But in the Teutonberg battle screen, and you can see all the new features and all the stuff. I'm not sure if I went over this already.
The gameplay.
Yeah,
video.
I mean, what I was going to say was, do you feel that with some of the historical things, do you think that historical battles may be a DLC package as well now? So if you get a certain famous race, for example, with these Greeks, do you feel that if you don't buy the DLC for the Greeks, you may not have famous battles with the Greeks? If you get what I mean.
Are you talking about, like, say, if I get the Greek DLC, I might get the Battle of Thermopylae?
Yeah,
because
kind
I
of
can
like
play the
that.
Spartans.
I was kind of wondering after I saw that would
I
historical
think-
battles be included now?
I think we've lost Ultra, but I think
Yeah, we've lost him. No.
I think that is not a bad idea, because I don't think it's like an amazing idea, but I think that's a good way to add on, because that means you don't just get a faction, you also get battles specifically for that faction, which would make a faction more, you'd want to see, get that faction more. So say if you get DLC for, the
Seleucids.
The Seleucids, then you get a specific battle that happened between the Seleucids and the Ptolemaic Empire, or Egypt, down by Jerusalem, which they had a lot of. So I think that would be a nice addition. I don't know, a lot of people might think that's a bit like iffy, but if you have playable factions which you're getting through DLC, then yeah, that would be cool. I don't think selling historical battles as DLC within themselves is a good idea.
No, of course not. I was just
selling it along with it, then yeah, that's fine.
yeah, that's what I was thinking. Decider, what would you think of that?
Sorry, I was elsewhere.
Basically, we were just talking about if you're now starting to get factions in the game of Rome 2, would there be extra features with the new factions, such as historical battles or other bits sort of stuff?
Well, I think it comes as standard Total War games anyway. They might as well wholeheartedly implement the more content for all the features they have, rather than just adding factions as single player.
Yeah, I mean, in all fairness, fair enough then. Well, okay then, so that is the podcast. Thank you all very much.
I just add a little bit of news for those who actually care, just a tiny bit.
Steven Spielberg, Halo film.
What?
It's not
Halo
a film,
film?
it's a Halo TV series specific.
Okay.
It's
Halo-
exclusive. It's a
Is it
Halo
live action?
TV.
It's a premium TV series for the
series.
Xbox One.
So
Is it
it's
live
forward
action?
until
Ah,
Yes,
it's
it's
like
live
forward
that's
until dawn.
enticing enough.
It's like forward
I
until
see.
dawn.
That I am
Just
interested in
awesome.
seeing. That does seem quite impressive. I'm looking forward to watching that. So
Oh,
there you
it's
go,
only-
little bit
yeah.
of news.
You need to get
So
the Xbox
you are kind
One
of sounding
for
a bit
it.
like a robot from my angle. Oh, Decider.
They're trying to recreate the universe, so hopefully it'll just be bigger than Forward Until Dawn. I think they're
Okay,
going
cool.
whole hog.
That's cool. That is quite impressive. I'm definitely looking forward to that. So that is the podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all very much for watching and listening. Either way. So with us today is the Rex or Rexisol,
Rex. Oh yeah. Thanks, guys.
Tactical Penguin,
See you later, guys.
and Decider,
See you later.
and a moment of silence for our fallen brethren, Ultra. Anyway. So thank you very much for watching. I am your host, Crap Hunter, and we shall see the. Oh, he's just joined
Oh,
us.
it's back.
Sorry
Uh,
about that. Internet dropped out.
We
We
just
were
ended.
just saying goodbye.
Goodbye.
Just pretend to be dead. You're fine. Anyway, so yeah, cheers. Thank you very much, guys, for listening, and we shall see you later. This is Crap Hunter signing out.